What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to another mock draft video. Today, we're going to be simulating our own lottery. I'm going to be doing my own mock draft in this one. Last week, I did one where I read like a Bleacher Report article, and like it was fine. It was whatever. I didn't feel like a ton of effort has been put in yet. I think they've since done another one where they put a little bit of effort into it, but you guys seem to like it when I do my own. We do a lottery live and all of that whatnot, so that's what we're going to do today. But anyway, hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment to my YouTube channel up to this point. I guess not for two up here, but I intend to keep on doing so. As always, please go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA videos. These get demonetized all the time. I literally just recorded one just before turning on this recording, and since setting up this second recording, which is 2 minutes later, it's already been demonetized. It's insane, and I should be protected under fair use, but is what it is. They're my favorite videos to do on the series. They're fun. Go give them a watch. And Ideal Offseason's back. The most popular series on the channel is back, so go like it, share it, subscribe, tell your Nana it's back, and go send her the video. But anyway, let's get into simulating a lottery. Alrighty, so we're back here on Fanspo, and we're gonna set this to dramatic because you know what? YouTube, and that's what we're gonna do. Ideally, as a Bulls fan, would love to see the Bulls jump up and grab the lottery right here. Will that happen? Almost certainly not. The things you'll see are obviously, for those of you, I guess, that don't know how the lottery works, it's the top 4 that are done in the lottery, and then it's in order after that. If we see any minus numbers render, somebody has already jumped up, and I don't remember who it is, but somebody that was in pick 12 has jumped up already. Wait, that was the Bulls, wasn't it? That was the Bulls. Let's go. I forgot so quick. Oh, what pick did I get? Give me this pick. Oh, somebody else has jumped up because we have a -2 now. Oh, I'm hyped. This is going to be a good video. Oh, everybody's jumping up. The Bulls jump up to 4. This is what I need. This is what I need in my life. Brooklyn jumps up 4 whole spots there, and Washington keeps the #1 pick. Suck it, Utah. Suck it, New Orleans. And Oklahoma City gets the Philly pick because it fell outside the top 6. Oh no, we can't keep letting OKC get away with this. Oh, those assholes. But anyway, we are 100% gonna use this lottery in my mock draft and let me have a little bit of fun. So now we can load this into Fanspo. I'm just going to do a first round mock of here, mostly because like in the second round, a lot of the second round gets determined once like workouts get to happen and we start inviting people out there. So I'm personally going to wait until I get to do all of that stuff with like my team and everything that I'm employed by. So I'm going to do it that way. I want to use the Fanspo consensus here. And yeah, that's how we're going to go about doing this. Alrighty, so here we are in the draft itself. I'm so happy that I get to live in fantasy land for a little bit. Will the Bulls actually get this pick? Almost certainly not statistically, but I get to be happy for at least now and feel like the Bulls have a direction. But anyway, if you guys aren't familiar with the Fanspo mock draft system, I presume a lot of you have at this point if you've been on my channel for any length of time. Really cool tools that you can use. You can see information on like all of the players. I think it's kind of cool. It tells you your upcoming picks. These team need things. I don't know how they calculate these per se, but it's kind of weird. You can look at a depth chart here, which is kind of cool, and then down here, all of the picks will kind of start to populate. But going to be giving my logic for what I think will happen. It's not necessarily what I think the teams will do. We're not doing trades or anything yet. We'll start incorporating trades into these things once the lottery actually happens, which I believe is May 13th. So once that happens, we'll definitely do a mock draft where all of our mock drafts from then on will include like actual trade ideas and stuff, right? Because right now it just doesn't make sense to go through that a ton right now. But anyway, first pick, the Washington Wizards. It's gonna be Cooper Flag, right? As I've been saying throughout this whole season, I think the top 4 are what you see right here. Originally, it was a top 3 that I'm like, these are the upper echelon of people, and then for most of the year, I was like, hey, this guy VJ Edgecombe, I think he's kind of in a secondary tier to them. I think he has worked his way into that tier with the rest of them, and as a guy that does a lot of scouting and things like that, I find it very rare to be like, okay, yeah, I'm like this guy, all NBA potential. I can see very clearly how it happens, right? It doesn't ever happen where there's like 4 people where I can see that happening for. All 4 of these guys, I think, can be all NBA type talents. That is extremely rare. If you guys watched my videos last year, I didn't say it about like anybody at all, right? But this year, I think that's the case. Cooper Flag is going to go first overall to whoever has the first overall pick, not only for like the financial reasons of like bringing Cooper Flag onto your team, do you draft him, but the talent of the defense, the athleticism at his size, the smarts for being a year younger than he even should be getting into the NBA, right? But yeah, super talented. You don't need to think about fit or anything right now with Cooper Flag. I don't think you really do with Dylan Harper either. He feels like kind of the clear second pick in this draft. Like, there's nobody that's gonna come into this top 10 that wouldn't consider Dylan Harper, except maybe the Spurs if they were able to jump in somehow. Maybe they would consider somebody else, but overall I think Flag's gonna go number 1. Harper probably goes number 2 regardless. Let's just pick Flag now, because now the Nets are up. I think once you get to Ace and VJ, they're pretty similar. Like, Ace is my favorite prospect in this whole class, just because I think he has the highest ceiling of things. Like, I see the criticisms of him, and we'll talk about him when we get to him, but I just, I like Ace the most in this class. So the Brooklyn Nets, number 2 on here with the pick. They've got a bunch of first-round picks in this class, but you get your star potential dude. This season was a complete success if you end up with Dylan Harper. What do we talk about all the time? Most guards, when they come in as freshmen, they've got like 1 to 2 moves most that they can really go to, and then they kind of start to develop their bag from there. Dylan Harper's already got a deep one. Like, he's already playing chess while everyone is playing checkers, right? Like, he's reading defenses, figuring out, okay, if you go here, I'm going to go here. If you do this, I'm going to do that, right? He's got 6 or 7 counter moves, and he's reacting to what you're doing the whole time, and it's what makes him such an elite prospect. You combine that with being 6'6", 220 pounds already, and like the vision is there, like the shooting looks like it's going to be good. You really have a big Jalen Brunson on your hands. So Brooklyn, you get your franchise player in Dylan Harper, hopefully. On the clock now with the Hornets. So yeah, this is where it gets interesting, right? The Hornets, with the 3rd pick, have this option between VJ Edgecombe and Ace Bailey, guys that I would probably grade pretty similarly overall. The thing is the Hornets kind of already have an Ace Bailey in the form of Brandon Miller, right? Kind of similar guy, lengthy guy, takes a lot of jump shots, really good at it, but has some good athleticism to VJ Edgecombe, on the other hand, is more so a positional need of theirs. They could use somebody at the 2. Another scorer would be cool to put around LaMelo, presuming they're keeping him around. And Brandon Miller, you've got a 1-2-3 with some pretty high level ceilings on him. So with that being said, I think you go VJ Edgecombe. If I can say more good things about VJ, the defensive like instincts are really, really good. The energy's good. The athleticism is absolutely nuts. We're saying he's a 10.5 out of 10 if Amen and Asar Thompson are the 11 out of 10s on the scale. So VJ's awesome. The jump shot has been good. It had a rough start to the college season, but then he really picked it up and it got really good, which is kind of what tends to happen with him, even in like the international performances that he's had. So absolutely awesome prospect. I think Charlotte takes VJ Edgecombe very happily here. And now my Bulls are on the clock, and I'm going to get my favorite prospect in Ace Bailey, man. I would be thrilled with this. So the criticisms of Ace Bailey that we hear often, right? And there's going to be criticisms with every player, right? And I sincerely hope that all of these players succeed. I hope you guys know that. I'm rooting for every single one. With Ace Bailey, everybody says, like, okay, the playmaking wasn't really there, and he took so many hard shots. We watched the YouTube videos, right? We did the whole series on it. You can go watch it yourself. Where's our Ace Bailey one? Here it is. Go watch it. They are playing with bums out there in Rutgers, right? They just are. Both him and Dylan Harper have no space to operate. The system makes no sense. They are just trying to do what they can out there. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper looked so much better than everyone they played with and everybody they played against this whole season. They really dominated their seasons. Ace Bailey kind of had to take bad shots, and Dylan Harper took a lot of bad shots as well, but they make a lot of hard shots, right? So in the NBA, hopefully things are just going to be easier for those two, but elite level athleticism at 6'10", can put the ball on the floor a little bit, can hit any jumper you need him to. Like, sign me up for that right away. You'll see most NBA players when talking about this class, and I've even talked to a couple of them about this too, and they're all of the consensus. So yeah, Flag's who you go with number one. They're like, but if done right, Ace Bailey's going to be the dude. Like, you just can't teach this level of like athleticism and coordination and shot making. So my Bulls, they get Ace Bailey. Let's go. I know the Bulls didn't take a point guard. I know. Do they need more point guards on the team? Of course they do. They need to have 10 to 11 at any given moment, but that's what we do. So the Jazz have had a complete disaster now, and they now have the 5th pick in this draft. Everything that they've been doing recently was to get a top 4 pick in this draft class. Now they're here, right? They don't really need a big man. Walker Kessler is set for them going forward, right? And they have another first-round pick as well. That's important to remember. They've got Minnesota's first-round pick. Lauri Markkanen's going to stick around for a while. This team needs wings, right? It desperately needs wings, so that's when you start to look at Trey Johnson, Con Knippel, most likely. There's not really anyone else I would say is worth taking with the 5th pick. Honestly, if I'm the Jazz with the 5th pick, I might even look to trade to some extent because these draft picks are so valuable this year. But I don't know. It also feels weird to kind of walk away from this draft class without like a lottery pick when you just had as bad of a season as they did. But I don't know. It depends on who's available. So with all that being said, I think they just take Trey Johnson. They take the positional need. The cool thing about Trey Johnson is, and I know you guys don't always like when I call him Big Cam Thomas. He's Big Cam Thomas, but with more upside than Cam Thomas because, yes, his playmaking is pretty non-existent. He doesn't really play great defense or anything. He is an incredibly tough shot maker that can make shots from anywhere, and he's 6'6" and looks like he can put on a little bit of weight. So in theory, you can get a dude that can put up 20 to 25 points in the NBA and play okay defense. Like, yeah, sign me up for that right away. Like, it's going to be a little bit harder of a development thing for him because these guys do come along and normally they just kind of become scorers. I think ideally a team takes him and makes him like a super 6 man right away where he can just go get buckets. But I think you take the chance on him there. Pelicans are up next here. This is an interesting pick, right? Because they should have their center going forward in Yves Missy. He had a pretty solid rookie season. I'm going to guess that Zion's still going to be on the team by next year. I could, like, that maybe he gets moved, but I don't know. I think what they're going to want to do, though, is get a point guard that can space the floor a little bit and can actually, like, operate this team because DeJounte Murray might be out for a little bit longer. We're not so sure. They're really set at the wing positions. So this feels like where a Yakuchonis comes in. He has fallen a little bit, and I could see them maybe going Jeremiah Fears, but considering how many good players this team already does have, it feels like you just need someone to kind of make it all click and work. So I feel like a Yakuchonis is the right way to go. And I see a lot of people asking me like, hey, should I be worried about all the turnovers he had in college? To which I say, it depends. When I look at prospects, like there's some people, like when I watched Isaiah Collier in college, I was like, this guy just doesn't get what's happening. He's just kind of throwing the ball around. Yakuchonis, on the other hand, like he does see things. It's sometimes he can't quite fit it where he needs to go, and sometimes his teammates are just in the wrong spots. They are. So I feel a lot better about him. I think his playmaking's elite. I believe that he's going to be a nice shooter in the NBA as well. We broke down his form pretty intensely, and it's pretty damn near perfect. And he has a lot of good instincts already. No, it didn't fall in March Madness. I just don't give a shit, right? Young point guard. He's pretty young as well. Like he just turned 19. So excited to see what he can do. I think he's a day one starter in the NBA, so I pick Yakuchonis. The Thunder, they can't keep getting away with this. They can't, man. They can't. Oh, man. Do we do this? We have to give them somebody, right? Because they're just sitting there with their grimy little mitts like, ooh, we got another one. Who else can we add to this young core? This feels like a Maluach pick right here, right? They've got 2 centers already in Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein, and I actually like Jalen Williams a lot, but I feel like the upside of Maluach is so hard to pass on. Now, it should be said, this team desperately needs some size at the wing, right? That's just one thing that they don't have on this team. So I feel like we should look at a Con Knippel here. No one else probably is close enough to where I would be really interested in that. So I think it comes down to Maluach just because they're like, look, we don't need him to be that good right away. Like, he's extremely talented. Like, this guy should be a starting center in the NBA at some point. But it's going to take a little bit of time. He hasn't been playing basketball for that long. Con Knippel has a very high floor and probably a low ceiling. How many more stars do we need on this team? Kind of hard to say. We could just use a guy that could play a little bit of 3-and-D for us at the wing. So I think there is some logic there. But I also just feel like the Thunder just can't pass up a good project. I mean, look at the 2 first-round picks they had last year, given it wasn't a very good draft class, but they took a guy that wasn't even going to play in the lottery last season in Topic. And then they went and took Dylan Jones, who doesn't play at all. And again, they have a deep team. So I think who's the next pick? It's the Raptors. Oh, if this situation happened, no doubt in my mind does OKC call Toronto and say, hey, motherfuckers, we're going to pick Maluach. We're going to pick Maluach, okay? So you better trade up with us and give us a little something. They would strong arm them to no end because they would happily probably take him, but they'd probably be just as cool just taking a Con Knipple. So you know what? Let's do this. Let's say, because I don't see any way in hell, because Maluach has been, like, he's so connected to the Raptors and everything. They need a center really bad. That's the guy that it seems like they want. Every connection and indication says that that's where he's probably going to end up. Let's just hypothetically say something worked out to where Con Knipple was drafted by the Thunder. They get their wing that they're looking for, their 3-and-D dude, and they probably got some more picks out of it because we can't keep letting them get away with this in OKC. They're too smart. And I don't know. And then Toronto comes up. They need a center. He's got the connections to the team. They love guys like this. They take Kaman Maluach here, which I think would be an awesome place for him to end up. So there you go. Now the Spurs are up. The Spurs are up. The Spurs got a weird team right now, man. They're in a good spot, but they got a weird-ass team. Probably don't need any more guys that can put the ball on the floor. I don't necessarily see a player right away that gets me, like, super excited for things. I think a Liam McNeely is someone they might consider to have more length at the wing again. I also see an Asa Newell as being an option. And what I always say about Asa Newell is stop trying to make him a power forward. I know that everybody lists him as that because that's what he was listed at in college. They just didn't know what they were doing in Georgia, I promise. Like, well, they did. They had 2 good centers on the team, so they put them on the court together, and they literally did the exact same things. Like, the exact same things in the offense they did. The only difference was Newell could step out and hit a 3 if he needed to, and sometimes he put the ball on the floor, so people want to make him, like, potentially a forward. He's a center. He's run, jump, and dunk first, and block shots. That's what he does first. What's interesting about him is the ability to hit a jumper and put the ball on the floor a little bit, so we think there's some development that could happen. So I guess in this case, because again, all the forwards are or all the wings are kind of gone at this point that you're probably interested in. I could totally see a world where they trade back and take like an Asenge here. I think that could be an interesting fit for them. But considering where they're drafting here with the 9th pick, I think they just go with Asa Newell, bring him off the bench, and you just have like an interesting guy that maybe long-term you can have some minutes of him and Wemby together, which would be absolutely nuts. So I think they take Asa Newell here with this pick. The Rockets almost will certainly probably trade their pick in some capacity in this year, just because they don't need more young guys. They've got so many young guys. They need to package some young guys and move them on. But what could we do here? The Rockets are a team that have Alperen Şengün, which is who Derek Queen gets compared to pretty damn often, right? They do play a very similar style of basketball. I will say Şengün is way more athletic than Derek Queen is, and that's where kind of my problem lies with it. This feels like a hard one to make work, and this feels like a bit of redundancy on the team to go after that, even though I do think they could maybe use another center waiting in the wings. I do think that they could afford to, if they kept this pick, swing a little bit higher on things than where they're currently at, right? Because we all know the Rockets' big thing is they've kind of built this team out before finding their 1A option. They were hoping it'd be Jalen Green. Doesn't look like it's going to be Jalen Green, right? So they've got all these really good players, but they don't have option 1A. And that's where they're going to struggle in the playoffs right now, and for years to come if they don't find it. They're also going to need long-term help at point guard. I like Amen Thompson at point guard, but I think you can always have another one out there. So I think they go Jeremiah Fears here. The upside of Fears is a lot higher than some of these other guys because he is super young for this draft class. Everyone says he's an elite level athlete. I don't see it. Like every time I watch the film, I don't see it. So I don't know if people are just being stupid and just saying the same things that everyone else is stupid. What is that study in psychology that they did where like everybody sat in a room and said something that was blatantly wrong, and it made the one person that wasn't in on the joke like say blatantly wrong things even though it was obvious. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about, but that's what it feels like is happening with Jeremiah Fears a little bit. So but his ISO creation skills are actually pretty good for someone his age. Shot selection probably needs to improve a little bit, but he's a young guard, right? If they're going to take on another guy, they can do it with Jeremiah Fears. So I think that's where they go for this one. The Portland Trailblazers are up next. What I would hope would happen here, right, is that this team would go and take somebody that can actually really benefit all the players that they have around them right now. Like all these young guys that they have on this team, the Scoot Henderson, let's throw Denny onto that list. Let's throw Donovan Clingan for sure. I don't know, Tamani Kamara for sure. I'm a little bit more hesitant on Shaden Sharp, but like I think he's worth exploring a little bit more. You should be drafting guys to help them out as much as possible. That's what I think that they should be doing, right? So I think kind of 3-and-D wings. That's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking for them. So I like Derek Queen falling this far seems unlikely. This feels like a situation where a very particular mock draft kind of happened, or the lottery happened, and it kind of worked out this way, right? So I feel like they'd consider him, but they just took Clingan. So I think in this one they go more so for the wing, and I think that they're going to like Asenge a little bit more because he's just got more of that kind of all-around athletic game that maybe they're liking. Again, adds a little bit more size to the wings, so I think that they go. I think they go Asenge here. Dallas is on the clock now, and Derek Queen is going to continue to fall here. Dallas needs a guard. They need a guard really, really bad. We just did the Nolan Traore, however the hell you say it, video. You should go watch it if you haven't already. Where is it? You can see it right here. And one thing we saw is this guy looks like he can navigate pick and rolls pretty well right now. He has some solid athleticism to him. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to develop, but he does have, like, he can run like the first like 2 to 3 steps of an offense pretty evidently. Steps 4 and 5 of like finishing the play are a little bit not quite there yet, but I think that they go guard here because they desperately need guard help, right? Kyrie Irving's going to be out for a little bit. I do like Brandon Williams, but I like him more as like a bench type player, and maybe Traore is forced into a starting 5 early just because of the situation, but if I have to do that, I don't think that that's such a bad way for them to go because, like I said, at least he has the first couple parts of running an NBA offense down. The Hawks are up next. There's no way Derek Queen falls this far, right? They're going to need another center on the team going forward. I think Derek Queen would be an interesting guy, actually, to fit on a team like this. Just because it offers like kind of a new sense to the offense, a guy that maybe can do some hub stuff through. Maybe that helps Trae Young play a little bit more off ball, which I'd like to see. I think Risa Shea would actually like playing off of Derek Queen as well. So the questions I have about Queen are just like overall athleticism. His style of play is very hard to fit things around, but the talent is undeniable. He's a little bit older than most freshmen, but you know, is what it is. I think Derek Queen goes here. He doesn't make it out the lottery. And the Spurs have another pick because of course they do. So who did the Spurs already take? They took Asa Newell here. It'd probably be good for them to take some sort of wing here. So who else is available? This feels like a good place for a Carter Bryant to go. More of an upside swing. We still have to do a video on Carter Bryant, but didn't play a ton of minutes at Arizona, but we saw, it looks like the three-point shot is a little bit there. Seems like a good athlete, 6'8". They need a wing pretty badly. And look, they had 2 first-round picks this year. They've got a lot of talent on the roster already. They can afford to take maybe a little bit more of a swing because maybe they took a safer pick with an Asa Newell. So I think you go Carter Bryant here, and the Spurs would be pretty happy with what they walked away with. Oklahoma City, because they got the Heat pick, they can't keep getting away with this. It's ridiculous, man. It really, really is. This feels like one where Colin Murray-Boyles could go here, right? Because they don't really have a Colin Murray-Boyles on the team, do they? Just kind of looking through, like, Kenny Hustle is honestly like an interesting one to look at with it, but Colin Murray-Boyles is basically Julius Randle, right? Like, we have a pretty good athlete that is pretty good at getting by the rim. He finishes well with both hands, but his style of play is pretty meh, like it's pretty bleh, right? It's not that great. But you throw them in OKC where, look, they've got a pretty set system. They've got dudes that are going to make you play a certain way. Maybe they can take the talent and actualize it. I think they feel really good about taking Colin Murray-Boyles right there. Orlando. On the clock now. They need some shooting and they need some guards. So they also have the 25th pick here, but I think this is one where you have to go and find like a guard that can shoot the basketball, right? Like you just have to. And I'm not going to lie, looking at all this, like Jace Richardson, I feel like they would have a hard time passing on him because of the shooting. I personally want someone that can create his own shot a little bit more. We did the video on him. I didn't really buy a lot of it. And he's not that great at finishing at the rim either, but he can play off ball and he can shoot. And so if you're trying to develop Paulo or Franz into more of a ball handler, maybe that's not a bad option for you then. So I think they go Jace Richardson here, but I would consider at this pick taking a Walter Clayton. I promise you I would. So we're going to go Jace Richardson here, take the shooting, and someone that can hopefully play a point guard. I see him as more of a 2, and that worries me, but take the shot. You need the shooting. The Timberwolves here, because they have Detroit's first round pick right now. So good for the Timberwolves for actually getting something like this. What do the Timberwolves need? The Timberwolves need someone that can put the ball on the floor. That's for sure. That's something we saw. I'm recording this the night after that Game 2 Lakers Timberwolves, where they just abused the one ball handler and Anthony Edwards out there, right? Shout out Minnesota for putting Terrence Shannon out there for a little bit and kind of figuring that out. So this feels like one where in an ideal world, in a very ideal world, they're taking somebody that can put the ball on the floor a little bit, score a little bit, and is kind of ready to go right away. I don't think anybody's taking Walter Clayton necessarily this high. I would consider it if I was Minnesota in this point. I know they just took Rob Dillingham. And I hope Rob Dillingham can kind of figure a lot of that stuff out. And part of this will be like, oh, what is Julius Randle doing this offseason, right? But I do think a Ben Serif could be looked at here. We just did a video on him, and we were pretty harsh on him. I think he has a long way to go, but there's an avenue for all of these guys. Like, I hope it's clear. There's an avenue for all of these guys to get where they need to go. He takes a lot of bad shots. He's pretty good at starting offense, but the way he finishes it is pretty poor right now. But the athleticism is like kind of there. He's got good size. So I feel like with the right people around him, maybe we can get something going. And again, it just kind of feels like a positional need, another guy that can put the ball on the floor. So I think they take Ben Serif here. Wizards on the clock again. They already have Cooper Flagg. They got their guy, right? They got Cooper Flagg. What do they want now? Who's still on the board and what could they use? Just looking at the team, right? You're gonna have Middleton. You still have where is he? Where is he on this depth chart? Koulibaly, right? Kispert's still on the team. Kispert feels like a good trade candidate for this year. Do you go with somebody with a little bit lower of a ceiling and a McNeely to kind of play off him, get more spacing around him right away? That's maybe a safer pick. I mean, McNeely's problem is like what he's going to be in the NBA is a 3-point shooting, like small forward, probably eventually a power forward because he's pretty thick and I feel like he's going to bulk out even more with time. So I feel like he eventually becomes kind of the stretch four, not the most athletic. He should be pretty good at getting rebounds. So kind of a Georges Niang type with hopefully a little bit more coordination to him. The problem is he just didn't shoot well in college, right? Everything about his form and stuff says he should be a good shooter. He's a good shooter in high school, which whatever, right? Like everybody's a good shooter in high school, so I don't care about that too much. I just don't think it's going to be hard to make him a shooter. So I think with this one, I think you just go McNeely here and take kind of a safer pick, and you go all Caucasian this year. If you're Washington, it's a Caucasian draft. All right, Brooklyn with their second pick. They've already got Dylan Harper. They've got their guy, right? Now, who do you pick from here? Do you take another upside swing here? Because I look at a Will Riley as an interesting option. I know everybody loves Rasheer Fleming. I think Sorber's interesting because what's Dylan Harper going to need to be successful, right? That's what they should be thinking now. They've got Cam Johnson. They got Nick Claxton. Probably don't bring D'Angelo Russell back at this point, right? Maybe they bring back Cam Thomas if they're taking a point guard in Dylan Harper, right? So what they could probably use is a wing on the team, right? This team's pretty desperate for wings that can step out and hit a shot. Do they need another guy that can put the ball on the floor? Probably not, between Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas in the first year. So this could be one where if Nick Clifford has some good workouts, it could go well. And you might think that Will Riley might fall to you anyway. I do think Will Riley's a really great fit for them long term. And since they have so many picks, you can afford to take the swing on it. But I think maybe you go safer in a Nick Clifford. Do you? I don't know. Let's take a look. Can we see Nick Clifford's like 3-point shooting statistic? I haven't done like a super deep dive on Nick yet, and we're gonna do a video on him at some point. But older prospect, incredible scorer, solid on defense, could be the Hawkes or Connect type for this draft. Keldon Johnson, Josh Green, and these are just random people, right, saying things. But versatile wing, made a significant strides, become known for his defensive prowess and ability to finish in transition. High motor, two-way prospect. His improved shooting mechanics and rebounding ability further enhance his profile. Significant strides in jump shot make him a reliable catch and shoot threat. Okay, I think you just go safe then, and you take Nick Clifford and go from there so that you have a wing that can maybe play some 3-and-D with you right away. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this is so annoying. I have to go back and do it all again. Who did we pick with this? We went Caucasians all the way. And then with this one, we just went Nick Clifford. Please don't crash this time. All right, we're at Miami with the 20th pick. They need a guard, something serious. They really need a guard, and the guards have kind of just been picked off, haven't they? Boogie Fland not going that high. This feels like one where this is where Walter Clayton could end up going. I think Miami needs someone that can handle the ball really desperately. He feels like he could be a good Heat culture guy. Stick around in Florida. Yeah, that feels like a safe one. The 3-point shooting will be valuable. Take Walter Clayton here for Miami. We like it. The Jazz just took Trey Johnson. Oh, this feels like a good one where they could swing for a little bit more upside in it, and they have a BYU kid right here. They're taking Yegor. The Jazz owner has a ton of connections to BYU, so they go Yegor here. We did the whole analysis on him. We think he's interesting. At the very least, it's going to take some time, right? As a primary ball handler, he's pretty solid right now. Some of the passing's pretty good. The shot form's like whatever. We kind of tweaked it and talked about it in the video, but we're like, somebody's going to need to give him time to develop. Utah can do that, so take him and stash him for now in Utah, because why not? The Hawks. Alrighty. They just got Derek Queen, so they have no use for Sorber. This team has quite a few people at the wing between Jalen Johnson, Risa Shea, Karis LeVert, Terrence Mann. They could probably use another point guard off the bench, somebody that can handle the rock a little bit, because they just don't really have a guy like that right now. So is this one where like LeBaron Filan could come in? I could see that. Filan's kind of like an Anthony Black type, so it would be nice to kind of have a change of pace point guard to come in a little bit. I don't think Boogie Fland goes in the first round, I'm going to be honest with you. I think between the injury and just the consistency of play we saw was pretty rough. I don't think they go there. So I think a LeBaron Filan goes here to Atlanta. Who do we got next? Indiana. They could use another center. Thomas Bryant, I believe his contract is up after this year. They could use another defensive center coming off the bench. They could also use wing help, right? They could use wing help. But this team was so desperate for centers this last year. I think they're going to be scared. You look at Sorber, and he projects to at least just be a very competent defensive center. He's pretty raw. He needs to grow into his body a ton. He couldn't even fit into his undershirt most days right now. But hopefully can become a better athlete. At least when I looked at him, I was like, okay, he's not the most athletic right now, but I think we can kind of grow into it to an extent. So I like the Sorber pick for them there. I think they just try to fix this backup center problem that they ran into. And then the Thunder, they can't keep getting away with this. They almost certainly trade the pick at this point, but hey, take the swing on Will Riley now. Sorry, Brooklyn, it didn't come back to you. So Will Riley, I think, goes here because they can take the time to develop him. He's the sizable wing that they're looking for. I could see a Rasheer Fleming as well, but I think they take more of the. There's no way they would keep all these picks, right? They would trade some. Otherwise, most of their team is going to be like young guys at this point, and most of it already is. But if they were to keep this pick, I think they'd take Will Riley. Orlando. Alrighty, Orlando, we could use some more shooting again, couldn't we? We took Jace Richardson. with the first one. Rasheer Fleming, where does he fit into things? Because they have so many forwards already. They have Ben Carroll, they have Isaac, they have Franz, right? Tristan Da Silva you just took. You have Jet Howard you're trying to develop. Caleb Houston you're trying to develop, right? Like KCP could play like a small forward if you really needed him to. So I don't think a Rasheer Fleming goes here. Danny Wolf, on the other hand, as another center, because who knows what happens to like Goga, right? Like maybe they end up like packaging him for something, trying to find like that point guard that they're really looking for, right? Because he could be really valuable to people. Wagner's coming off injury, and Wendell Carter's off and on. We watched Danny Wolf, and I put him pretty high in my on my big board because of the ball handling. The shooting looks really good, the creativity. This feels like the center you put next to Paolo and Franz long term, and I do think that this guy could become a starter in the NBA under the right system. So he's smart. You put him around the right people. I think that this could help them. I think that this could a lot. So I think the Magic take Danny Wolf and find the perfect guy to put next to Paolo and Franz at the center. Now we got Brooklyn on the clock again. Alrighty, where do we go from here? We've taken a wing, we've taken a guard. It feels like it could be time to take a big here. I could see them taking a big here, and I think a Janai Broom could be an option here. Just, again, a solid, and they have the pick right after this, so I could see them going for an upside swing here and then a safe pick. I think they go grab a big in Janai Broom here, who, in my opinion, should just be a nice physical backup center in the NBA for a long time. He's got some soft skills. Looks like he can maybe step out and hit. Feels like a good guy to kind of put around Dylan Harper in your first year, so I think you take him. And then you got another pick right afterwards, and I think you go with Penda here. Should be a nice outside shooter. Again, more size and shooting at the wing, which is what you're going to want to put around Dylan Harper. Just build this massive-ass team. I think that that's a good way to help him find some success early on in the NBA. Everyone just says Noah Penda is just going to be the next Nick Batum, so look at him that way. The Celtics. All right, Celtics, what are you doing here? Oh, they could get a Rasheer Fleming here. That would be sick if they got that. Because who are some of the guys they kind of have waiting in the wings right now? That should probably be what we look at. They got a Baylor Shireman, who's more of a guard, right? They've got a couple bigs out there. They got a Jordan Walsh, too, who's kind of the same thing. But I feel like the potential of really athletic, 3-and-D shooting power forward here sounds really nice. So I think that they just go Rasheer Fleming here. I feel bad that he falls this far in the draft. I like him a lot more than this. I just think that this is where he might end up going. The Phoenix Suns now. This would be great if Walter Clayton was still available here, because they need some guard help most likely. But this team needs a lot of things here. This team needs a lot of things. And looking at who's available... Oh boy. Lendeborg, I believe, is going back to college, most likely, so I'm not so sure about that. I know Joan here is projected to maybe become like a first-round talent, so potentially. I think they need to go someone more offensive in some capacity. I don't think you go a Boogie Fland here, even though there's a positional need. Hugo Gonzalez doesn't feel like a for sure first-round pick. I think people are going to get nervous about his pretty extreme lack of playing time. Thiero is an upside swing you could go for just because he's physically so gifted, and they don't have a lot of size at the wing right now that they can really go to, because we're presuming Kevin Durant's getting traded, right? That's probably a safe thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. They got Dunn already, who you're developing, but his offensive game is pretty limited. Do you just go with a Cam Jones here because he can put the ball on the floor and maybe he'll at least be a solid contributor day one? I think you just kind of go with that. I think you go Cam Jones and move on. He should be a decent scorer. Day one, can put the ball on the floor, so go there. And then the Clippers with the last pick of the first round. Where did they go here? They've got so many like solid wings for now. They've even got a couple young ones. They could probably use another big. So is that where you look at maybe like a Condon or something? I'm not sure if we're gonna do a video on Condon or Condon. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it for sure, but he is a good rim protector. He rebounds the basketball well. That national championship game of his was really hard to watch personally, but they might just want to take the upside of the forward because he's pretty dang athletic, and you put him around the right guys and like a James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, like they've got so many like just solid vets on the team that maybe they could pull something out of him. So maybe we go Condon here. I could also see a JT Toppin, but I don't think the power forward position is quite as needed. So I think with this one, I think you go Condon, and that's how we wrap it up. So this right here is our mock draft, y'all. This is what we got. Shout out my Bulls for jumping into things. Shout out OKC for just being assholes. Just screw you guys for always being smarter than everyone else. But I like this. I think that this turned out okay. Obviously, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I always love doing these videos. It's a lot of fun. Opinions are going to change between now and the draft, but this is what I got for right now. So I appreciate you guys as always. Let's move on to the comment of the video. Alrighty, y'all. Comment of the video is coming from our ideal offseason video for the Phoenix Suns, because as you noticed here, the Phoenix Suns aren't in the lottery and they're bad, right? So we got to do them a little bit earlier. Please go give those videos a watch. They're the most popular ones on the channel for a reason. You get some cool resources with it as well. And as always, go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA videos, because they get demonetized instantly, like almost instantly, and I don't get to do or make profit off them, but they're my favorite videos to do on the channel, probably outside of ideal off season, actually. So go give those a watch. But the comment to the video was just commented an hour ago, and I haven't even responded yet. It comes from Jax R9925. He says, so glad I stumbled upon your channel, man. You really helped me realize some things I'd never considered about prospects and players. Really opened up my eyes. This isn't even like a pat myself on the back thing. It's just when I see comments like this, I'm like, okay, I'm doing what I want to be doing with this channel, because my goal in here is never to like change your opinions too much or overwhelm you with like my basketball experience having more than the average person probably does. Well, definitely does. But I just want to share with you guys the inside things that I feel like a lot of fans, when they're on Twitter or on social media, just don't consider, because you've just never been in it. You've never been in the situation of being a coach or being a development guy or a front office guy. So how should you know, right? So I feel like I want to give those perspectives and ideas out into the world, because most people don't talk about those. And so I'm glad that you're getting some value out of that. I promise you I'll respond to your comment, and thank you for the comment. But as you see, I respond to every single comment. I do have some that I need to go get caught up on, and I'll do that after this video. But seriously, I appreciate you guys. As always, leave me a comment, and maybe you'll be the comment to the video. And as always, go join the Discord. Link is here. We're talking playoffs on there all the time. It's a lot of fun. You can get access to the ideal offseason spreadsheet there. So please hop on. It's a good time. But anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.